We would like for you to take a journey with us in your mind, a journey that many of you have been a part of in your own lives and may not have even realized it.
Veteran. What exactly do you think of when you hear that word? Many of us think simply that the word refers to someone who has served in the military, and that, of course, is true. But there is more. Go back in time with me in the life of a veteran, when he or she was a young person pondering what he or she was going to do in the future. Back to the time when serving in the military, while demanding a great deal of physical and mental dedication, was what he or she really wanted to do. This was the eager young person who left for boot camp right after high school, not knowing what would lie ahead, but knowing that this was the path to which he or she was being called. Think again of the word we are painting a picture: veteran. This future veteran could have been active in the military during any decade. The 40s, when he would have been thrown into the midst of a horrific world war. The 60s, when he would have left for duty in Vietnam as a proud soldier and returned only to be ridiculed by many of his fellow Americans for his brave service. Or possibly the 90s, when he might have found himself in the midst of Desert Storm. He might have joined the service during peacetime, which is just as noble as a duty as his brothers and sisters who carried the fight to the enemy in wartime service to our country. He might have served one tour of duty or made a career in the military. Whatever the time period, and for however long the service was given, the veteran has every right to look back and be proud. Veterans. While they can look back fondly on our friendship formed and enjoyable times had with those newfound friends, these courageous men and women have seen things they wish for none of us to see. Many of them have been airborne dogfights that they were sure would end in violent plane crashes. Multitudes have carried their rifles through rice paddies and marshes, up to their waists to seek out the enemy. There are those who parachute behind enemy lines, hoping they would not be spotted in the night sky. These brave men and women put their lives on the line because of dedication to love for this country, a country in which we now sit in glorious freedom.
Yes, there are countries whose citizens are not able to congregate in assembly such as this. There are governments that dictate the career path that each of its young people must follow. There are countries whose leaders lie to the people about world affairs and keep them from having contact with anyone outside their own country's borders. Fortunately for each one of us, our land is not one of these. It is because of the veterans we honor on this very special day that all of us within the walls of this gymnasium have the freedom to walk the streets of our cities and towns, travel the highways that span across this nation to any destination we please. And yes, those of us who are still in school can choose our own future careers, our own paths. Many of us may choose to have a job dealing with technology, or medicine, or business. Some are looking into auto mechanics or cosmetology or owning their own business. And yes, some of us may even find ourselves enlisting in our nation's armed forces, proudly serving this great country and its inhabitants by protecting the very freedoms we hold so dear, freedoms we enjoy each and every day. It is our hope that as we have taken you on this journey, you might now give more thought to the veteran or veterans in your lives who have sacrificed so much. It is our hope that you might look at them through different optics than you had previously. And it is especially our hope that you might walk up to them with an outstretched hand or open arms and express your gratitude for their sacrifice and their service with a handshake or a hug. After all, they are veterans. And a veteran is the cornerstone of our freedom, whose value remains unmatched. Will any veterans who are present with us today please stand? Will you please join me in honor?
Who have chosen the path of military service have unfortunately given their very lives to protect our freedom. It is now that we would like to take a moment of solitude in memory of their ultimate sacrifice. Please join me for a moment of silence, followed by playing of taps.
Each year, we gather on Veterans Day to honor the sacrifice and the service of our military veterans. As we gather annually on this day in November, our country takes a pause to reflect, to respect, and to honor the brave acts of so many American men and women. As I think of this day in November, I cannot help but ask myself, how do I personally honor these men and women every day of my life, and not just on one singular day in November? The answer is quite simple. I will stand. I will stand each and every day as I recite our nation's Pledge of Allegiance. I will stand each and every time the Star-Spangled Banner is played. And I will stand each and every opportunity I have to shake the hand of a beloved veteran. My choice to stand is exactly that, a choice. Each of us have this choice, and we owe the opportunity of choice to those who fought to keep that liberty. I don't choose to stand or not to stand because of an agenda, because of a government, or because I intend to make a statement. I stand for one simple reason: to honor. I will stand because during our country's fight for independence, so many others took up the fight and stood against tyranny. Those early Americans shed a great amount of blood so that I could have the right to live free and to stand up against which is wrong. I will stand because even in America's ugliest hour, when North fought South, when our own neighbors could not agree, our country stood and fought for the rights, the liberties, and the freedom of all its citizens, so that each of us could stand equally. I will stand because of World War I and again in World War II, our country stood with other Allied powers to fight the dictators and oppressive powers overseas. It was an entire world at war. It was a war to end all wars, which young American men and women, including both my grandfathers, left their homes to stand against a great evil. And once again, like those before them, they fought so that the future generations of Americans, their sons and daughters, their grandsons and granddaughters, could stand as free men and women in this great country. I will stand for my own father, who in 1968, at the age of 18, was chosen through our country's selective service program, or the draft. He was chosen to put his life, his future, and his dreams on hold while he served his great country in a foreign jungle in Vietnam. I will stand because although I am certain he was paralyzed with fear to leave the security and comfort of his home, he found the courage within himself to serve his country so that his son could stand here today and address all of you as a free man. I will continue to stand and honor every veteran from every conflict, battle, or war that has been or will be fought both at home and abroad. I will stand for the estimated 1.3 million who no longer are able to stand with their families, their friends, and their communities because they gave the ultimate sacrifice of their lives so that the rest of us have the choice to stand. I will stand for the true heroes. A hero is someone who has given his or her life for something bigger than oneself. As our 40th President Ronald Reagan said in his first inaugural address, those who say that we're in a time where there are not heroes, they just don't know where to look. My heroes are not on a football field or a concert stage or even on a movie screen. My heroes are my father, my grandfather, the brothers and sisters, the fathers and mothers, the grandfathers and grandmothers of all of you in this room who put their life on hold to serve something greater than themselves. I will not stand to some statement or because I feel in some way it brings attention to myself or cause, nor will I seek to persuade others to join me in my position to stand. No, my choice to stand is mine as an American, just as it is your choice of another not to do so. I consider my choice to stand a luxury I've been afforded by those veterans I choose to honor as my heroes. In closing, Franklin Roosevelt, our 32nd president, sums up the fighting spirit of Americans and our appreciation for freedom in the following quote: "We too, born to freedom and believing in freedom, are willing to fight to maintain freedom. We and all others who believe as deeply as we do would rather die on our feet than live on our knees." I want to thank our veterans in attendance today. I also want to thank Mrs. Gill and Mrs. Treehern, the Student Council, and the Warrior Band, and all students and staff who were attentive and respectful today during our program. This concludes our 2017 Veterans Day program, and I thank you all for attending.
Thank you.